Hey guys, it's Michelle and I'm here for another episode of Coaching from the Couch. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite ways to interact here on social media. It allows me to come to you guys just however I actually am at that moment in the morning. It allows me to come to you without actually cleaning up, although today I did put that little flawless sign. It hasn't made its way to my office yet, but I put it in the back to cover some of the dishes in the kitchen. So anyway, but I have always envisioned this as being something that we do together. It should be an ongoing conversation. It's where I can answer your questions, which is exactly what I am doing today. Today in the Women Who Wow Mastermind, I am going over several, I think it's like an 8-step process to really create exactly the business that you want in terms of income, making sure the sales and the money is coming in. And so, but one of the questions that I keep getting from people who are not quite Women Who Wow members, maybe they should be, but they're asking me about objections, right? Questions like, how do you follow up? How often do you follow up? How do you do it without feeling pushy or needy or whatever? And so I wanted to come to you today and give you 3 specific ways that you do not want to handle an objection. And unfortunately, there's a lot of sales systems out there teaching exactly these 3 things that they tell you that you should be doing these to handle objections. And the truth is, they're exactly opposite of what actually lands the sale. And now I'm not saying that it didn't work once upon a time, or that it, didn't work better 10, 20, 30 years ago. But in today's time, we really want to be following up on objections as the way to make the sale, right? We don't want to dread them or what have you. I also want to share with you guys something kind of exciting. Everything that I'm doing today is coming out of my original little, good morning, Kim, my original little wow factor retreat, right? This is back then. I love these days. They were high dollar retreats, anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 for 3 days. And I just loved it. And I loved my simple little notes, and they're exactly still what I am using today to build my empire, right? To build what I'm doing here. Nothing's changed about me, which ironically is one of the ways you want to follow up on objections. So quick notice before I really get into the content. I do have my niece here. She's 8. She'll be 9 next month when I'm 42. And she might join us. And of course, we have the dogs. And today is also, our kids are out of school. So the 2 kids that still live at home may make an appearance in the back. So how do you not want to handle objections? What is the absolute 3 worst possible ways to handle an objection? The first wrong way to handle an objection is to condemn the rejection, right? So somebody says, I don't have the money, and you condemn their objection as wrong. You're wrong. You do have the money. You drive a Lexus, or you drive this, or, I know your husband works at whatever, right? So when someone says they have an objection, whether it's, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't, I don't know, whatever another objection might be. Then now's not the right time. I had decided to do X, Y, Z instead. Whatever the objection is, you don't want to make it wrong. And the reason you don't want to make it wrong is the same reason you don't want to make your daughter's boyfriend the wrong choice when she's a teenager, right? Because the truth is, you do that, and your daughter will spend a boatload of time, effort, energy, and focus on defending this young man, and they're never seeing things as they are. They're only seeing their defense of something as they wish it should be. So when someone gives you an objection, you do not ever want to make their objection wrong. You don't want to battle the objection and tell them why it's wrong, why it's not true, whatever. That it creates an acrimonious relationship between you and your prospect, but also it puts them in a position of having to defend the objection. You never want that, because when something is defended, walls are built, right? And all of a sudden people are hiding behind them. So you do not want to have them defending the objection by condemning it. Instead, you actually agree with it, right? You say, I understand what that's like, right? I understand what that's like. One of the top reasons that I get for people who say they can't join Women Who WOW is they don't have money. They don't have the money, and they'll get with me. They'll join WOW when the money's coming in. And I'm like, well, we kind of solved the money problem. So you don't want to join Weight Watchers after you lose the weight. That makes zero sense at all, right? You want to make sure that you are, understanding exactly what you're saying no to. You don't ever want to condemn the objection. I know when they say they don't have the money to join Women Who WOW, I know that there's money being spent elsewhere. I know that money is the problem that we solve. I know these things, but I'm never going to condemn it as wrong. I'm just going to agree with it. Yep, absolutely. Let me know. So you don't want to condemn the objection. The second thing you don't want to do with the objection is you do not want to cancel the prospect, right? That actually reveals to the prospect that you never really cared about them in the first place, right? That's what happens. And we say, well, we don't want to follow up because we don't want to look like we're all about the money. And so as a result, when you don't give me money, I never talk to you again. I just cancel you as a prospect. Definitely don't do that. Right now, I do cancel prospects when I realize they're just not great prospects for me, right? I don't want to work with them anymore. Certainly, I'm not going to pursue something that I don't feel like is aligned. However, if I say to you, like, I believe in you, I am with you, I see a great future for you and your business, I mean it. And so I'm never going to cancel you as a prospect. So we don't want to condemn the objection. We also don't want to cancel the prospect and never talk with them again. We want to give appreciated and enjoyable follow-up with them. In other words, we want to treat them like they're people, right? We want to treat them like they're people. Now, a quick caveat to this, because Facebook kind of has limits on us, on our private friendship, how many, we can only have 5,000 direct friends. And so I've been kind of struggling a little bit. I'm not struggling with it anymore, but I struggled at the beginning of last year because when I realized that someone was not a good prospect, or when I realized that they had experienced me in some realm, or they had even possibly experienced WOW and they dropped out or what have you, sometimes I did unfriend them, not because I was mad at them, not because I was upset about them not continuing or not joining, but just because there was a fit revealed. And I'm like, I've got to make room to use Facebook for business purposes, right? Which is why I'm on there. And so, anyway, it's not, but my point, getting back to my point, you don't want to cancel a prospect. When they give you an objection, you don't want to walk away as if, now that they said an objection, you have no interest in them anymore. You want to lean into the objection. You want to follow up with them in a way that lets them know that you care about them beyond what money they can give you, that you care about their success or their health or whatever it is that you're helping them with. You want to make sure that you are continuing with them. So don't condemn the objection. Don't cancel the prospect unless it's just not a good fit. And the third way you do not want to deal with an objection is you do not want to convince them. You do not want to get into a push and pull with them. But what if you move the money from here? But what if you did this? What would you do this? You don't want to do that, right? That just, it is a poor positioning for you as a business owner. It feels a bit like the used car salesman stereotype. It feels just not good. And so you don't want to condemn the objection. You don't want to cancel the prospect, and you don't want to be convincing and begging people to reconsider. This feels to me a bit like when I had young kids, and I was, no surprise, right? I was extremely particular about who I left my kids with, which was hardly anyone. It was my parents. That's it, actually. And so I was very particular about that. And I would say to someone, I couldn't go here because, I didn't have anyone to watch the kids. And it would infuriate me. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way. Certainly, whether you're here now or you're watching the replay, if you've ever felt this way, definitely show me some love hearts so I don't feel entirely weird. But I would feel infuriated when they're like, well, can't so-and-so watch them? Or can't this person do this? Or why don't you look into this? Or so-and-so has an overnight program or whatever, right? And I would get so frustrated because I'm like, I didn't ask you to help me find a solution for where my kids could stay. Like, I understand that people, there are people who could watch my kids, right? It's just that I'm not interested in having my kids with them or whatever. So it was something that I would get frustrated with. And when you are trying to convince someone, thank you, Kim. If you're trying to convince someone that they should be working with you, you all of a sudden get into this push or pull that feels a bit like how I felt when people would try to find a solution for my kids. Hey, Kinsey Benz. So my niece just woke up, so she's gonna probably make an appearance. Come sit with me, babies. And she is here because all the kids are out of school today. So those are the three things. I do want to give you, right after Kinsey sits down, I want to give you one way that is the surefire way to make the most of all of your objections and all of your prospects. This is something that I'm very, very excited to share with you. And it is simply the philosophy of congruence. But the three ways you don't want to deal with objections: you don't want to condemn the objection, you don't want to cancel the prospect, and you don't want to sit there and try to convince the prospect when you're in this like push-pull, push-pull. Hey, Ken, say hi to the camera. Sorry, Sophie's getting her. Sophie is Kinsey's size. Hi there, that's my Kinsey Benz. Okay, so the number one way that you want to deal with objections is you want to be able to be congruent. Here's what that means. Right? You want to back up anything you said in a sales presentation, in a sales conversation, in a sales proposal, in an email invite. You want to back that up with congruence in action. Right? You want to let people know that you're not going away, that you are there for them, that you believe in them, that you want to help them, right? You want to be congruent in your follow-up. You want to make sure that you are walking the talk, that you are putting your, butt where your mouth was, right? Where you're saying all these things are true, and here's what I'm looking forward to you, and I believe in you, and I'm excited to work with you. All of that doesn't go away when someone just ignores you or gives an objection. You want to be congruent in your response. So that's really the key from the very first inquiry, the very first communication that you have with your prospect. You want to make sure that you are congruent all the way through the process, right? That you are walking your talk, that you are showing up for them in the same way that you would when they become private clients. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes that coaches, speakers, consultants, that market makes is they want to have like these two different personas, right? They want to have this like one persona where I'm like super hard to get to, and I'm like, super distant, and because I'm super cool and famous and all of that. And then they want to have this other persona where it's like, hey, you can reach me anytime. We're all, I'm here for you. I'm your partner. I'm this, I'm that, right? And they never mesh. And it's like, I'm not interested in maintaining a facade on either front, right? So what I encourage them to do is to be congruent, to make sure that the person that they see online, the person that they see in sales conversations or invite conversations is absolutely congruent to the person they see on the other side of making their payment. There should be no like big switch that happens, right? Payment simply gives you permission to help them, right? So if you are here and you are a seriously driven woman entrepreneur, there, you can get some value in the free stuff that I'm doing online. Absolutely. My paid clients watch these live videos, right? There's value here. But you're not going to get as much as if you were to just bite the bullet and join Women Who Wow and become one of our members. Over 70% of our members are six-figure earners. On the outside of the doors of Women Who Wow, that number is in the like 6 or 7% of women entrepreneurs who are six-figure solo earners. And that's not a coincidence, right? It's not a coincidence. So if you are interested in Women Who Wow, definitely message me, m.me/Women Who Wow. I would love to welcome you in. And I will see you on another episode of Coaching from the Couch. If you're a member, today we are talking about, I think it's 8 steps to make all the sales that you want in your business. It's really like front to back, and I'm super excited to go over it. And again, it's in my little, original notebook that I had, original little workbook. So yes, payment gives you permission to help them. Absolutely, right? So, and also, Kim, you're a coach, right? And part of your job as a coach is getting them to the fee, getting them out of their own way, getting them away from their excuses, right? And so part of your job as a coach is getting them to the fee, where they are willing to commit to whatever the outcome is and invest in getting help, right? In fact, that's when we really see commitment, isn't it? When we invest in getting help. It's the reason like that marriages kind of push pause on divorce, because if somebody's investing in getting counseling or therapy or whatever, right? It's like that's code in our world, in our society, for I'm committed to this and I'm investing in getting help. So Kim, your job, getting people to the fee so that they can experience the transformation that is on the other side of working with you. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you have a question for me and what you'd like me to answer on another episode of Coaching from the Couch, please, you can put it in the comments below. You can message me, m.me/Women Who Wow. And if you want to join Women Who Wow, please message me today and let me know about you and your business, and we can talk about joining. Talk with you soon, guys. Bye.